Question 5. Who has been the most disappointing team so far this season?
Well, if you look at the graphic, there are three people, or three teams, I should say, that are in that: Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Oklahoma. And I think if you were going to put them in a category of who are the most disappointing teams, if you're not mentioning those three, then I don't know if you're really having the conversation. Michigan State has been absolutely dreadful. We just put out a conversation yesterday how we think it might be a bad decision that they made the contract extension with Mel Tucker after going 11-1 last season. Now they're 2-3, 0-2 in Big Ten play. Getting a lot of negative comments on that one, which I say bring on. Go ahead. That's fine by me. I appreciate your opinions. But, with that being said, Michigan State obviously is taking a step back. I still think it has something to do with recruiting, especially after Mel Tucker being in year 3 of his tenure there. So I would say that there are definitely some issues with Michigan State. Big disappointment. You look at Wisconsin; they just fired their coach. If you don't think that means that there's been a disappointing season, that was a shock to a lot of people. I mean, even it was a shock to Pat Fitzgerald, the head coach of Northwestern, who arguably for some reason still has a job. I think Northwestern just knows that this is probably the best they can get right now. Pat Fitzgerald's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but even he said he was shocked. I think Wisconsin is definitely a disappointing team. But if you didn't say Oklahoma was the most disappointing team, I think that you might have to reevaluate what you think of disappointment. You start off 6th in the nation. You lose to Kansas State, which you thought that was something in the past. Brent Venables apparently inherits that as well, that they have problems with Kansas State. Kansas State seems to be the kryptonite of the Sooners. And then you go into TCU, or you go to play TCU, and TCU just puts the hurt on the Sooners. And that just can't happen. As much as I do think that Oklahoma is still a good football team, they're disappointing. They're just not performing the way they should. And I think that, especially this week, if they find a way to not defeat the Texas Longhorns and they go on a 3-game losing streak, we might see some drastic changes happen with Oklahoma, something that they might regret in the future because they didn't let it pan out. Now, I'm not saying it might be something as crazy as the Brett Venables firing, but I feel like something will have to happen. Not sure if it'll be that drastic. Maybe a coordinator might move, something in that regards. Who knows? I don't think Brett Venables' job is in danger by any means. In the beginning of this segment, I said Mel Tucker, maybe they shouldn't have that extension. He's in year 3. Brett Venables is in year 1. I mean, year 0.5. So it's not his team yet. Even with the transfer portal where you can bring in players, it's not his team yet. So I would say Oklahoma is the most disappointing team. However, have faith, relax, Sooners, you'll be okay.